The future is now. Mafftopia, save with crypto too. It's Mafftopia news, speed run brought to you. Fascinating science news. Fascinating science
Hello, hello, and welcome. Honestly, I'm in such a panic. Just joined a little bit late, and just kind of sort of thought, oh my god, we're actually supposed to be going live. So all of the preparation I've done is just gone up in smoke. But I think we're pretty much there. So yeah, welcome. This is the Mafftopia Science and Technology News live stream thing, with the latest scientific breakthroughs, technology things, and we're live every Tuesday, apart from last Tuesday because I was a bit busy, and every Thursday. Today, right now, I'm Maff, and this is my friend and co-host, Save with Crypto. Hello. Save. How are you?
Hello. I'm all right, thank you. Yeah. So just remember, don't come along last Tuesday, right?
Yeah, you might find that none of us had have been there, or something like that. So yeah, essentially, so there's so much to talk about today. In fact, I mean one thing really. So one main topic, but within that we have got a lot to discuss. So let's get straight to it. And it says here, play the news dog video. I'm probably not supposed to read that out, am I? Here we go.
Mafftopia technology, science, breakthroughs, discoveries, news.
Well then, yes. And I now need to see this. This is the state I'm in at the moment. I just didn't prepare. I should have actually rehearsed. Wouldn't that have been so much better to just rehearse the thing? So I'm going to share the screen, but first I need to find the thing. Find the thing that I was going to show on the screen. Here we go. Click the wrong button as well. Share the screen. So just in case you were wondering what you're actually watching, this might be a little bit recursive. So this is Mafftopia, and on the screen you can see Mafftopia. And if you're interested in Mafftopia, do head over to mafftopia.com. It's basically got a link back to whichever platform that you're currently watching this on. So there's the recursion, I suppose. And but there's a bunch of other waffle, to be honest, on there. And there's that. So the main topic for today was essentially this report from Morgan Stanley. They put out this thing saying that AI, what do they mean? AI is now a macro variable. Are you positioned?
So it's a big variable.
Yeah, I guess that's what I mean. Because I tend to think of macros as being little scripts that you can run to perform a task. You know, but
maybe it is.
From the Excel days and so on. So yeah, AI is no longer a theme. It's an industry build out, a key driver of GDP and a geopolitical football. Nearly $3 trillion in infrastructure spending still ahead. The question now is who monetizes it and who gets disrupted. Well, the investors monetize it, I guess. And so because obviously the infrastructure isn't going to get built unless there's some investors who kind of see a potential profit there. So there's that side of it. But we'll get into that. And there's a thing in particular about that I kind of want to cover as well. So, because in amongst all of this, there's a thing about the energy shortfall, but I'll get to that. Also, I'm just going to bring up this old infographic. This, to be honest, it isn't the best infographic. I keep talking everything down. I must stop that. It's a habit. So so essentially, Morgan Stanley's 2026 AI report identifies the first half of 2026 as kind of a pivotal inflection point for artificial intelligence, warning that a transformative breakthrough is imminent and that most of the world is rather unprepared. We're not that unprepared. I mean, if at the moment AI is producing infographics like these, that I told it to use the Sarah maybe, the Sarah font, and so it wrote in the word Sarah, which is really nice. Thanks for that. It's whenever I see that sort of thing, I think, well, we don't need to worry too much, really. But yeah, so they've got their key predictions and insights. So AI breakthrough in 2026. Open the window, can't breathe. AI breakthrough in 2026. And Morgan Stanley forecasts this year a major leap in AI capabilities driven by unprecedented accumulation of compute power at leading US AI labs. This could double model intelligence. Well, to be honest, yeah, just the rate at which these different models are advancing. It's like there's such an arms race, isn't there, between the different AI giants at the moment. Each one kind of advances ahead, don't they? And whether it's OpenAI or just whoever, just what the name now, Anthropic, and obviously Google and so on. Not forgetting Grok. So yeah, each one kind of advances ahead a bit and seems like it's left the others behind in the dust. And then suddenly the next one releases their next major advancement, and and so on it goes. So just each one rushes ahead for a while. But anyway, yeah. So lots of model intelligence doubling, and a tenfold increase in compute. Just says in compute, based on validated scaling laws. So, in other words, the more powerful that these models get, the more computational power they're going to need. The more data centers, the bigger the data centers that they're going to need. So, I might undermine a lot of this straight away just by saying that that's completely dependent on, or it's assuming that nothing else changes, essentially. So like a cleverer algorithm comes along that just kind of cuts through this and reduces the amount of machine learning model training, rather, the amount of model training needed by a factor of 10 or something like that. So there's advances all over the place. It's not all just the sort of brute force method of just kind of scaling up the size of the training models and so on. So performance benchmark, OpenAI's, talking of OpenAI, that GPT 5.4 model has already scored 83% on the GDP Val benchmark. Don't really know what that is, but do you know what that is?
No idea.
No. Matching or exceeding human performance. Well, yeah, of course, in economically valuable tasks across top industries. This bit, AI as a macro variable. So maybe we'll get that answered. So AI is no longer a tech theme, but a structural force influencing GDP. Oh, I read that bit. GDP, earnings, credit markets, geopolitics. It's now considered a central macroeconomic variable on par with interest rates. So, okay, yeah, that's interesting. So now, what Morgan Stanley are predicting is that this year we'll see that kind of happening, that We talk about interest rates with, well, especially on the Save with Crypto channel when we do our live streams on there. We talk about the interest rates with great interest, and also things like oil prices and so on, because it all affects the economy. But now AI is also going to be kind of affecting the economy in a similar sort of way, apparently. So just, yeah, okay. Part of that, I think, is just going to be because of the amount of energy that AI is going to need in order to just keep on doing what it's doing. So actually, there's a better infographic. I'll just switch to that one. Yeah, that's better. It's kind of showing the same thing, but yeah, more detail. So yeah, the 2026 macro environment, which we was talking about. So Morgan Stanley reckons 3% global GDP growth, and US as the global pivot, they hope. US-led shocks drive global outcomes, blah, blah, blah. What is that? The two halves yield story. So the Fed cuts rates to, do you think that's a typo? Neutral. No idea what that means.
This is not a very good advert for AI, is it? Really?
No.
It's just produced a load of like crappy infographics, actually.
Essentially, at least this one doesn't name the font on it somewhere, so that's it's an improvement, you know. So I guess so. For first half of the year, the Fed they're expecting the Fed to cut rates in the first half of this year. That's what Morgan Stanley are reckoning. Well, that'd be nice. That'll help the Bitcoin price for definite. So
news to me though.
yeah. Yeah, well, all of a sudden I'm quite keen on what Morgan Stanley has to say. So, tell us more good things. But then they reckon that the interest rates would drift higher in basically Q4, so kind of in the second half of the year. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so technology and disruption risks they're also reporting on. So in the first half of the year, the first half of 2025, there were leaps in the models at the front end of things at the cutting edge. So approaching expert level performance, they were arguably they have surpassed that now. So adoption over displacement, proprietary models, and human in the loop services are still hard to replicate. I actually think that's a good thing. To be honest, I don't mind that at all. That we've still got humans in the loop as a kind of a requirement on these kind of AI experts, as in expert systems and so on. But what we're starting to see is recursive self-improvement. So basically, AI models that are kind of contributing to the training and improvement of themselves. So I'll go into that a bit later on as well. So, and it's really that's kind of going to be the big contributor to the sheer amount of power that these AI data centers are going to be needing. They're already just needing ridiculous amounts. So they reckon financing the AI revolution, hyperscaler cash flow, just chucking a load of really big numbers. No one's going to check in a couple of years' time, are they? That's the thing about these kind of macroeconomic reports that these big financial institutions put out like this. So they reckon that private credit, asset-backed. So in other words, where's all the money going to come from to pay for these things? So they reckon. I don't know what hyperscaler cash flow is, to be honest. But in any case, they'll issue corporate debt, bonds and stuff, I suppose. So 200 billion securitized credit, 190, yeah, potentially. But overall, yeah, that number that we talked about earlier, just near the start, $2.9 trillion. The overall kind of infrastructure spend, but that's through to the end of 2029. They did mention this 315s thing. So 15-year leases, 15% yields, and $15 per watt net value. And as I say, energy really is a critical constraint. It's going to be what holds all of this back, really, until they can kind of find a way to solve that. So the and then 2026 investment strategy, they reckon, I don't know what that number means, 70%, 17% earnings growth. Okay, so if you're investing, I think what it really means is just invest in energy and still invest in AI companies, especially if they're kind of doing this kind of thing, corporate debt issuance, but buy their bonds as they issue them, and get in as early as you can is what it amounts to. I think is what they're saying. So primary trades, blah blah blah. Yeah, okay. Probably for infrastructure, they are talking about kind of the government built infrastructure as well, aren't they? So the US Treasury, there's kind of an expectation there the US Treasury will be kind of funding a lot of this this build of the power requirements and so on. It's just a big old thing, isn't it? It reminds me of the just when the internet was kind of just growing from kind of like dial up to broadband, and then from broadband to we need even more broader band. When there's a lot of talk then about like fat pipes, just and also just like, so all of a sudden we're going to be streaming video over the internet, but that seems a bit irresponsible, doesn't it? You're just going to kill the internet, and then it's very much like, so who's going to pay for all of that? So if the likes of Netflix back then were suddenly just streaming video over the existing internet infrastructure, like 20 years ago, they're basically kind of crossing over this distributed network, decentralized network that's that would just teeter and fall. So it took a lot of infrastructure build back then to just generally grow the network and just make it more capable of just the sheer amount of bandwidth that all of a sudden was needed throughout the whole thing. So it's this is the same sort of thing again, but for AI. It's very like what goes around comes around in that sense. So just as back then, kind of investing in, like, imagine investing in Cisco back then. They were kind of mainly the people doing like the internet routers and things. People would have done pretty well out of that. So it's same sort of thing now, just which ones to invest in. And so yeah, essentially we've got I feel like we almost want to load up TradingView and look at some of the stocks, just see how they're doing, kind of use Quadzilla to project where they're going to get to, and so on.
I must admit, that's exactly what I'm doing right now.
Oh, yeah? I'd be interested to see that.
I can. I'll do it on.
At the risk of kind of trapping you a bit with that one, but I was
on a different computer, but I can do it on this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd be really interested to see that. We could turn this into an impromptu trader with crypto live trading session or something.
I don't want to hijack your stream.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
But yes.
Indeed.
Yeah. Do you want me to share a screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So I wasn't quite ready for this.
It's all right. But by the way, just while you're doing that, I hope people liked the new intro lead-in sort of video that we did. So that's it's still a little bit kind of rough around the edges, but I quite liked it anyway. It's it's kind of fun. People I've shown it to, they questioned the gremlin in the corner that was bopping along to the music. Like, why is it there? Don't know really. It's actually covering a watermark that that Google VO adds to the, like they add their logo to the bottom right corner. So I stuck a dancing gremlin there to cover it up.
So those people who asked about that,
yeah,
that was me, wasn't it?
Well, there's you. I showed my daughter as well,
Right.
and she was saying like, what? Why is the gremlin there?
Yeah. So yeah. So Cisco would have been a, yeah, indeed, if you'd have bought that in 1990.
Yeah.
What stage was the internet at then? 1990, I suppose.
It was dial up.
It was, wasn't it?
Dial up. Yeah.
I'm trying to think when I started doing stuff.
I mean, there was Pipex, the ISP, the internet service provider. I remember was the big sort of ISP that, I mean, obviously there's AOL, but in the UK at least, I don't know about the US, but it was Pipex. I remember having to go to dial.pipex.com and thinking like, why they got such a complex like web address? Just Pipex.com. Yeah.
Well, yeah. If you'd have bought Cisco stock in 1990, you'd be up 80,000%.
That's pretty good. I'd say that's quite good.
I think when I got involved with the internet, that's around about when I got made redundant, really. So about 98, I think it was.
Yeah, that still would have been a good yield. So,
it's only 716%. 716.
Rubbish. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, Quadzilla wouldn't have existed back then, but it'd be interesting to put Quadzilla onto that and just see if it said, well, like, so what's that on? Is that on the 12-month?
That's on the yearly time frame. I mean,
put that on the monthly or the weekly or something.
Yeah, let's go for monthly. What am I looking for? I should have just gone 1M, shouldn't I? Okay, well, this is a bit like gold, isn't it?
Number go up.
What happened there in March 2000? I wonder.
The dot-com bust, wasn't that around then?
Oh, I guess it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So Cisco is riding high on the dot-com boom, and I guess they suffered along with everyone else. It's like, what is this internet thing you're talking about? Just sending pets by post, pets.com and so on. What's that about? Yeah. Just people's new pets are all turning up dead when they know in their sort of cardboard boxes and things. Just that's never going to work. So I guess Cisco suffered from the fallout from that.
Well,
but also, to be fair, that was looking at the chart, looking at what Quadzilla is saying on it. That was very, very overbought.
Yeah.
So Quadzilla was almost screaming like sell, sell, sell. Looking at that with the super down indicators and so on.
Just, oh god, yeah.
But yeah, and then it, like right at the bottom of that first crash, the looking on the quad rotation stochastic thing, the momentum thing at the in the lower part of that, it's very much so it kind of wow, where's it gone? It went down into the oversold area and kind of curved round. So like very much saying, oh hey, yeah, the price has come down. It's not really going to go any further down. Probably time to start buying again.
Yeah.
So yeah, Quadzilla did some good hand holding there. If people had invested using that, then they'd have done pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah.
So, obviously, it didn't exist back then, though. But had Quadzilla existed, then,
yeah. I must admit, now looking at it now, because we're actually back at that level from 2000 now. So you're almost thinking, oh wow, is that a double top?
it could be,
Is that-
or is it going to be another big rejection?
And then we come down to this retracement level here.
Yeah, because there is also that super down that's shown up as well on the like right on that last candle, the last bar.
Yeah, I mean, as it happens, that would only be a 74% dump, but that would probably upset some shareholders, definitely.
Probably a bit, yeah. But yeah, so I mean, not financial advice at all. But if I was holding Cisco stock at the moment, I'd be looking to maybe offload a little bit of it, or kind of consider entering a swing short around about there. Obviously, probably with the intention of buying back in when the price comes down. But what would kind of destroy Cisco at the moment? Probably because they've obviously diversified their product offering quite a lot since they were like the internet router people.
Yeah.
But I think, just like a destroyed economy, a big onset of war and stuff this year might cause a bit of a crash there. An overall general recession would probably crash them quite hard, actually.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you can see why everyone's big on energy and stuff, can't you?
Yeah, for definite.
The only thing I was thinking about that is, so electricity's generally getting more expensive, isn't it? I mean, generally, I think. Is that true? Oh, that's true, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Oh, definitely, because it is one of those things where we put in the energy saving light bulbs, and we put in the solar panels on the roof. We haven't, but people put in solar panels on the roof. They do this, that, and the other. They're on the energy saving tariff. So they heat their water overnight, that sort of thing, and yet the electricity bill always goes up. It never comes down.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And this isn't because that's not because there's a shortage of electricity, is there? It's
no, plenty of.
I mean, so right, if we're going to have to create loads more energy to supply all these AI things, so I'm just trying to think out loud, really. So where's that going to come from? I mean, these companies are going to have to almost make their own energy or provide infrastructure for doing so, aren't they?
Yeah, actually, let me just put this screen share back on here. So, because there's definitely that, because they would need to the AI companies in particular, because there has been talk in the US about whether, I think it's probably Google and maybe was it OpenAI as well. I think that maybe being given provision to run their own nuclear power station in order to be able to just fund their own AI data centers, because they're going to need something like that, just the rate that they're going at. So, because essentially, I did make a note of it here. So the overall shortfall in energy, did I have that on the next thing? Yeah, AI data center power demand by 2028. So is in that Morgan Stanley report. They reckon that there's going to be an 18 gigawatt shortage of power, just a shortfall. The overall projected US AI data center demand is going to be around 75 gigawatts, which is bleeding insane. It's insane. It's insane. So equivalent of around 15 million average US homes being powered. I think that's the 18 gigawatt amount is equivalent to 15 million US homes being powered for a year. Equivalent output of 9 large nuclear power plants, because they tend to put out 1 to 2 gigawatts each. 9 Hoover dams, I assume, not Howard dams. That's interesting. So the Hoover dam puts out around 2 gigawatts of energy each year. compared to a nuclear power plant puts out 1 to 2 depending. So like, isn't that interesting? So like, I didn't realize that the Hoover Dam is the equivalent of 1 nuclear power station, essentially, in terms of the amount of just energy that it produces each year.
I've actually been there, actually.
Have you? Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you paraglide off the top of it or something?
No, I didn't actually.
Base jump. Are people allowed to do that? I imagine not.
No, but I did get shot in the face with a water pistol though, which was
okay. Yeah, I mean, next best thing. Yeah.
But mainly because I asked to be. It's basically there was a woman there with her family, like loads of little kids, and she had this kind of water pistol and was like spraying them all in the face with it. Just to
was it very hot weather?
It was very, very hot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I said, "Oh, can you do that to me?" She said, "Yeah, sure." And just like soaked me, and I was like, "Oh, thank you very much. That's great." And it was.
Yeah.
But
I would imagine, like suitably refreshed.
Yeah, that was my main memory of Hoover Dam, or Howard Dam, as they call it there. How can it get that wrong? Why does it get that wrong?
It is so weird because in the prompt to generate the infographic, it specifies like double check the spelling of all text very carefully.
Right.
So it tells it to do a bit of a self check on that one.
So you provided the word Hoover Dam, did you?
No, I didn't. To be fair, I just told it to create an infographic based on, because it had gone through like some comparisons, and it's like, then just based on that stuff, then can you turn that into an infographic?
I mean that is definitely, yeah. I mean that is definitely what they meant, because that's the shape of it. It's quite a it's not very wide. But it's very deep.
Yeah,
that is.
Well, that's interesting. So it's drawn it kind of correctly.
Ish, yeah.
Yeah.
The water doesn't really, the water doesn't really flow over the top like that though. But I think it's trying to imply it is a dam of some sort.
Yeah, for sure. So also that 18 gigawatts, enough to power a major metro area like New York City, that kind of on that order of things. So essentially then, it kind of means that the US could face a power shortage of 9 to 18 gigawatts by 2028. And the shortfall would equal roughly 12 to 25% of the electricity required to support the projected AI data center demand. So, which would kind of imply that the total. So this bit wasn't specified in the Morgan Stanley report, but it does kind of imply that the total projected power demand for US AI data centers would be around 72 to 75 gigawatts, which is bleeding mad. So, is that the last thing? Oh no, there's that one. Oh yeah. I wanted to briefly mention Minimax, but I'll come back to that in a sec. So, the thing that's driving all of this kind of power usage then, or projected power usage, is the fact that because it takes a huge amount of power to essentially train one AI large language model, and also of course to do the actual processing of the models as well. But because Morgan Stanley were kind of predicting that we're going to start to see recursive self-improving large language models, in the sense that they would just kind of continue growing, accumulating knowledge, but also improving in the process. And but essentially that has already started to happen a little bit. And just before we get to that, actually there are two things. Just before we get to that, here's one thing. Oh, that finished a bit quickly. I didn't have the next thing lined up. But yeah, so not that. It's all right. I messed it up anyway. Yeah. So here, the other thing is just to quickly mention a few other things that Morgan Stanley were talking about. Earnings leverage from AI is coming into view, elevating the value of monetization over mentions. Does that make sense to you? What does that even mean? Monetization over mentions.
No,
from
it makes no,
earnings leverage.
no, it doesn't make any sense at all, does it?
No, it's corporate gobbledygook speak. So, according to Morgan Stanley researchers, most recent mapping of a bunch of stocks for AI, so stocks for AI exposure, so I guess stocks in companies that invest in AI, presumably in AI companies. So 21% of the S&P 500 companies in there mentioned at least one AI benefit. So in other words, 21% of companies probably sort of like AI, but the market isn't paying for AI mentions alone. Yeah, so AI adopters are seeing results. Presumably that means good results. I guess that's what it's implying, isn't it? With cash flow margin expansion outpacing the global average by 2x, Morgan Stanley and blah, blah, blah found that second order AI beneficiaries, what's that? Show similar efficiency gains and margin expansion. Markets are paying for evidence, yada, yada. Markets are paying for evidence that adopters can monetize and punishing uncertainty. So in other words, talk about investors are they want solid facts, don't they? They want to see that what they're going to invest in is actually going to get some sort of payback. They want to see a profit. They want to see the shares that they bought go up in value. And as usual, with any kind of market like that, that if there's uncertainty, it really does get punished. You just see that all over the place, like especially Bitcoin, for example. Again, when there's uncertainty, they don't like that. The price goes down. So same sort of thing. So I guess that's what that's about. So AI financing is reshaping markets, and the inverse of that, rewarding discipline. So yeah, it is. AI is accelerating. God, showing my ignorance of this. I don't know what M&A stands for. What does M&A stand for?
Market? No, I don't know. I'd be guessing.
Oh, missed. Sorry. Try again. You'd think a report on the M&A environment would start with a definition of M&A. Maybe it's just so obvious it doesn't need to be defined. If anyone's kind of watching and knows, would you mind just popping a note about that in the chat?
Mergers and acquisitions.
Oh, yes. Okay, that now makes absolute sense. Especially it's like mega deal activity, that sort of thing. Thank you. Saved. So live stream saved with Save with Crypto. So Morgan Stanley were also saying risks are real, but they shape opportunity, nothing ventured, and all that. Geopolitical overreach is the macro. Oh, I thought AI was the macro overlay, but it's also geopolitical overreach. Takeaways, basically, I think it was. I made a note. I've lost the note, but yeah. So what they're really saying is that the competitive edge will go to those who kind of integrate AI into their core operations faster than their peers. So, in other words, make sure your company is an early adopter of AI, but not just kind of use it as a souped up Google. just actually kind of integrate it into your core operations, essentially, and hope it doesn't hallucinate too much. And I would add to that, keep a human in the loop. As we see those infographics and things, you kind of need that. Not so that humans don't make mistakes, but you usually have a additional human in the loop, even when humans are producing, to check for those things. So
yeah. I did something interesting today, actually. I in between the two live streams, I had actually a kind of interview for like kind of a job, really, which is completely outside what I normally do. It's to do with health and wellness and all that kind of thing, and it's just something I want to do just for my own personal being, really, sort of. So
it's kind of good to step outside your own comfort zone in that sort of way. Do something new.
Yeah, and it kind of involves a bit of performing in public, sort of thing. Sort of like. I'm not being a pole dancer, but but it's there's
a definite health and safety angle to that.
It does involve like public speaking and stuff like that. And consequently, I was thinking, what sort of questions am I going to get asked? So I kind of went to Grok and I said, look, I've got this interview for this position. Can you help me like rehearse some things that I might get asked, and then and so I can refine my answers, so I did that really well with Grok, and it was kind of, and it was saying the usual kind of AI type thing. Yeah, you did that really well, but you can improve here and there. And I thought, okay, that's actually really useful, And then all of a sudden I was thinking, like, sometime in the future, this step is going to get bypassed, and I'll just do the interview with an AI person, won't I? So I won't actually speak to a human.
It started happening already, like more and more, I think. So, but
but I was thinking, like, when I did actually speak to the person themselves, who was a live human,
I
don't know. There was, I mean, she liked me, which was great, and I liked her as well. And that kind of, I don't know, is AI going to get to that sort of level where it senses all these things? And I suppose it will, won't it?
Oh, as in
I kind of warmed to her, I kind of like, and probably the feeling was mutual, so we thought,
like a sort of empathy kind of thing. Does it detect human empathy in this? I mean, you could already kind of, that sort of thing probably could have been done for years already, like just training a model, like as in just like traditional sort of machine learning, just training a model like a series of faces or videos or whatever of so if it's mainly like behavioral traits or facial expressions, facial shapes, anything like that, or kind of typical responses to specific questions, or just if they suddenly say something like the only good minority group is a dead minority, whatever, it's like, oh, this person isn't very nice, but yeah, all that stuff I think can be sort of put through a training model anyway. So yeah, it wouldn't take much of a leap really to kind of have that as a screening. So yeah, maybe the next set of interview, sort of interviewing thing will literally just be a whole bunch of different AI front ends, as they can probably call them, maybe AI personas or whatever, like human face, human AI interfaces.
And I suppose the next step on from that is where you replace me with an AI person, and then
that'd be nice. It wouldn't even have to bother to turn up for the interview.
You just remove the humans completely, and I'll just take the
send your avatar. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
So yeah, kind of wonder about the, like, man, is it just going to get to that kind of stage where AIs are just employing other AIs, and humans just kind of drop out of that completely and end up just kind of forming their own like sub society or side to side, parallel society that's just humans to humans, essentially, and kind of form their own economy. And the AIs all just kind of they just stay in their own kind of nuclear powered, Hoover Dam powered cloud AI data centers, just doing their stuff, and we're out here doing our stuff, you know.
Okay. I tell you what I've never done, you know, which I don't know why I've never done it, but I've never put like Grok on my phone,
Yeah,
put that in front of my laptop that's got like Chat GPT, and then said, you pretend you're me inquiring about this sort of thing, and then have a conversation.
yeah.
And then just left them to it. I've never actually done that. I wonder what happens.
It'd be interesting. I mean, there was a thing put out not so long ago, I think, that was kind of similar in the sense that it would. Let's see if I can find it. So I'll just look on. Has X got a search thing? Well, I suppose it has. But yeah, essentially, it was a little bit staged, but it was that an AI agent called up a hotel and asked if they have any like reservations, but it was actually an AI agent at the hotel that answered the phone, like kind of, hi, this is like the Hilton Hotel or whatever it was, and then the AI agent calling said like, oh yeah, I'm an AI agent for blah blah blah. I'd like to check if you've got reservations, and then the hotel one said, oh, would you like to speak? Would like to, as we're both AIs, would like to communicate in some gibberish computer language thing. And then they started going blip 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 to each other.
Right. Okay.
So apparently it was real in the sense that they set it up and it kind of happened, but it was also a bit sort of staged, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, so especially with things like OpenClaw agentic systems and so on, just very much it's probably about to happen, if anything.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, talking of AI bots, you've got a bot here from what's it called? What's the thing you're streaming to called? Rumble.
Well, okay, yeah.
You've got, because he's not real, is he?
If you follow me, I follow back forever. I have already built 240 followers. Oh, they know solid. They know solid forever. Sorry, I'm probably being a bit racist to put on that voice. I just realised. If you like follow, I will even in your stream extra voyeur for your live.
Yeah.
Maybe that was maybe they're Irish. I was kind of putting on a slightly racist Asian voice, but I should have done an Irish accent for that.
It sounded like that character that Benny Hill used to do, you know, with the I don't know. That was a kind of Chinese thing, wasn't it?
I mean, so in an English accent, what sort of things was he saying? I mean, he put on the accent, so don't care.
What on Benny Hill?
Yeah,
It was like I need writing pepper, right? No, not salt and pepper, writing pepper.
Writing paper.
It was some generic sort of Eastern person.
Yeah. So, another one. Was that? Oh yeah, same one actually.
That was before.
If you know watch video, you turn off bell. How to get banned. So essentially, so that this is actually just something that was reporting on the thing, adverse effects of AI products, blah blah blah. Then there was, this is actually a completely separate thing. I forgot. I'll just quickly mention this. Do I have a kind of preparatory video? Because this is a bit like and any other topics don't really have a intro video for that. Just realised. What's that one? This isn't really like a rabbit hole thing. We've already gone down the detail rabbit hole, haven't we? But so I'll retrospectively just play this rabbit hole warning. There. So we are duly warned. There's deep rabbit hole details ahead. So yeah, this one, Google, because they're so scared of the UK and its competition concerns, that they're going to allow AI opt-out for websites. So in other words, you can put in a God, this bloody thing. I do hope these disappear soon. That's an EU thing, isn't it? I don't care about cookies. Just having to click those things every time you visit it. It's so dumb. But yeah, Google to allow AI opt-out to ease UK competition concerns. So, because obviously when you go to the main Google page, like you search, or go to Brave Search or any of a bunch of others, probably they do the AI summary for these, don't they, nowadays? And it just means that people stop visiting the actual websites because they get exactly what they need from that results page, and they don't go any further. So it's kind of, it means that it's been kind of starving websites of traffic, funnily enough, which seems a little bit parasitical of Google, if I may say so, in the sense that I mean, it's not just Google. It's like, as the saying, Brave does it. They all do it now. But I don't know if DuckDuckGo does, come to think of it. But yeah, so they extract the web pages, feed it into a ever evolving live large language model or set of models, I guess, and from that produce results with references from your search, so you don't have to go to the website. But the UK, whichever one it was, yeah. So Google is developing new search controls allowing UK websites to opt out of its generative AI features, and it'll implement a streamlined switch. So in other words, return something in the response web page saying it's a bit like do not follow, that sort of thing. So it'll just say like do not AI me, do not AI page, you know. So it's like the do not follow thing's already there for web robots, as in like don't index this page, don't index this link. But it's a similar sort of thing. Interesting that Google are bothering. You think they would, but I suppose nice. It's almost like they're humouring the UK watchdogs in a sense here. But saying, all right, we'll do that for the UK, but not for the rest of the world, essentially. So if you have a UK-based website, you can now opt out of their generative AI results if you want to. But you'd imagine like some websites may even want to be included in that, but because they'd then be in the links, because it's going to generate it anyway. So yeah, didn't you do something related to that? I don't remember. Or you talked about it, I think, at some point.
Yeah, it's because a lot of my SEO career was all like link based and stuff, and
yeah.
But
yeah,
probably don't want to talk too much about that here.
Yeah, sure. It's fine. So there's this one, which is Minimax. I mentioned this earlier. So we were talking about self-improving models. This is probably the last item as well, by the way. So we were talking about self-improving models and things. Morgan Stanley were projecting that they would start to appear, but hey, guess what? They're already here. So this model is one that you can actually run locally, like through Ollama, that kind of thing, and or through the Ollama cloud, which is kind of a newish thing that they introduced as well. so if you have Olama running locally, you can just kind of install the Minimax M2.7 model and just kind of run it, have it doing stuff locally. So there's so Minimax is the first model to deeply participate in its own evolution during development. So it autonomously executed over 100 iterative cycles of self-optimization using a recursive loop. So, and that was essentially analyze failure trajectories. This is the rabbit hole warning now. And analyze failure trajectories, then plan the changes, then modify the scaffold code, then run the evaluations, compare the results, and decide whether to keep that result or revert and try again. So apparently the process led to a 30% performance improvement on internal evaluation sets. So, I mean, that's interesting in itself, because Morgan Stanley was warning that this kind of recursive self-improving model would lead to much greater power usage. But in this case, it's more that it led to a much more efficient form of model training, because it's just like it's checking itself, it's knowing thyself. So the M2.7 model actually helped design its own agent scaffolds and training loops, as I said. And apparently now, this new model that's virtually just kind of built itself, designed itself, and so on, exceeds GPT 5.3 codecs for with these for coding and stuff, and Claude 3.5 Sonnet in several software engineering benchmarks, which is pretty amazing, especially given that you can actually just run this locally. So it, yeah, I thought that was worth mentioning. There was a so an example kind of Minimax prompt that you can use with OpenClaw, which we covered before. OpenClaw is kind of this agentic framework that you can just run locally or on a Mac Mini, also locally, or set up a cloud server or whatever and run it, and it just kind of runs your life for you, essentially. Sends out responds to emails, adds stuff into your calendar, buys your groceries, that does literally whatever you tell it to do, and it'll just remember to order flowers and on certain event, that all that sort of stuff. So an example prompt, I can't really kind of show it on there, but it's you would tell OpenClaw when it's using Minimax as its backend model, teach yourself how to write financial research reports by studying examples from top analysts. Write a PowerPoint presentation and Word document report on TSMC based on their latest earnings. Save your research framework as a skill so future reports follow the same process.
All right.
Pretty neat.
Very neat indeed.
Yeah, that's probably about it, really. Just a bit more about Minimax there. Worth checking out. I forgot there's a bleeding infographic. There you go. Minimax. You train it. It does a recursive loop of learning and pops out a fully learned model. And ultimately you get Minimax 2.7. That's how you create a Minimax M2.7. just follow these steps and go around in circles a lot. So yeah, what are we left with? Probably
that's quite cool. I will warn you, I'm going to have to shoot off in a minute because I'm going to do that Swissborg thing. But
yes, yeah, same. Not the Swissborg thing, but I've got to Zoom as well. So any last thoughts about say with crypto? You and your crypto channel.
Well, just the fact that I'm there with Maff every day at midday UTC, and we'll be talking about crypto. And I'm really going to go because that meeting's just started there. So
Sure. Yeah.
I'll
Till
get to
next
say
time, we'll be
goodbye.
back here on Tuesday. Yeah. And
Right.
live streaming on Saver Crypto tomorrow. So thanks for watching and bye. See ya.
Cheers all. Bye.
Bye. Click end stream. Do that.